Oh hi, I'm Marissa. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a sketchbook tour video. This sketchbook is part 1 in my 365 Days of Pattern series. I talked about this a little bit in my last video, but I've been working on this challenge for 2+ years, and 2023 is the year I'm going to finally wrap it up. Fingers crossed. It's a big commitment. Now, I obviously couldn't get a sketchbook with enough pages to do all the drawings in it, so this is book 1 of 3. There's about 160 drawings in here, but we're only going to be talking about the first 51 of them because I didn't want to make a super long video. I didn't want to overwhelm you. I didn't want to overwhelm me. Let's get to it. Now, I don't actually know much about this sketchbook, so I can't tell you what brand it is or what type of paper is in it. I do know it's from Amazon. It has 80 pages and the paper is really thin. I do paint both sides of the paper with acrylic paint though, so that seems to protect the pages from warping too badly. And this cover was just a little doodle that I drew with Posca markers. Okay, you can see here that I started this on the last day of 2020. I used to be really good about starting these drawings the night before they were supposed to be posted, but that didn't last long. You can also see that it took me 10 months to finish, which just goes to show how badly I fell behind on this project. Anyways, this is drawing 1. I remember how excited I was to post this first pattern. I thought this one was so good. Looking back at it now, it's pretty rough, but you have to start somewhere. This green side makes me think of frogs every time I look at it. Don't really know why, but I do remember wanting to do a sort of nature-esque pattern, so I went with this kind of tree bark-like outlines and filled it in with a lot of tiny details. Overall, not bad, not my favorite. Now, this is my first attempt at a floral pattern, which honestly to this day I still struggle every time I try to do a flower design. Just can't figure out how to make them work with my style. These ones are a bit too sloppy for my liking, and I wish the yellow was a bit more opaque, but I like the amount of polka dots. Now, this one reminds me of the little DNA dude in the original Jurassic Park movie. The design itself is really simple because I was still trying to figure out how to layer my shapes, but this is a really solid color palette, and I have a soft spot for this one. I also really enjoy these two patterns together as a spread. Colors play really nicely together. This is another pattern that I have a bit of a soft spot for. It's a little overwhelming, but I think I pulled it off pretty well. This was my first drawing to go a little bit viral on TikTok. If you didn't know, I post short little draw with me TikToks for all my sketchbook drawings. I have a link to my account down in the description box. But I think this design's really fun. I really love these little spiky blobs. Very fun, good color contrast. This is another spread where I think the colors paired really well together, but I don't like this drawing at all. These sprinkle shapes kind of look like bumblebees because of the stripes and the outlines, which is cute. But the design is just way too flat and I don't think the metallic marker is helping any. Now this drawing went even more viral on TikTok, and I remember being so upset because I was so disappointed when I finished this. I absolutely loved the little like maze and like Pac-Man thing that's going on, but I messed it up with the black outlines. I should not have done that. Rookie mistake. It looks so bad. This is the reason why I don't like using outlines in my drawings. I think this is the only neon drawing in the whole challenge, and this one is absolutely wild. The colors are crazy, the zigzags are crazy. I don't think I like it. It kind of hurts my eyes, but I just realized I missed a spot right here. Good job. Next, we've got some dripping blobs. This drawing was one of my favorites from the earlier stages of this challenge, but now that I look at it, I'm just really not that impressed. It's too simple. Granted, all of the sketches from the beginning of the challenge are on the simpler side because I was still learning what my style was. This is a nice color palette though. And over here we've got some clouds. Again, this is another really simple one, but I think there's potential here. I love using black and white in my drawings now, so I could definitely see myself going back and reworking this one. This one is rough. Gray is not a color that I work with often, so I really struggled to come up with a color palette for this page. The design just isn't bold enough to stand up against the background at all. All of the lines and the dots are the same weight, so it's kind of tough to read the overall design. But over here we have the first of many mountain-inspired drawings. I absolutely love this, so much so that I actually did a painting based off of it. This little guy. Cute, right? The color palette is really bright, but the dark green background helps give it more of a woodsy vibe, and then this abstract take on clouds is probably one of my favorite things I've ever done. You can never go wrong with a black, white, and red color palette. It's a classic. I like these little bits of gold and pink. But I will say, I'm not crazy about the center piece. It's not actually centered, but I do think there's a lot of movement in here. You can really see the like zebra stripes that I was going for. Now this is another really overwhelming pattern. There's just way too much going on, and it's all kind of on the same layer, so you can't really make out what is what. Also, these squiggles are so sloppy. Like what is that? That'd be one messed up worm. Now I think this is an actual frog-inspired pattern. I got some lily pad shapes here in the back, and I like that I started experimenting with filling in the shapes. If you follow me on Instagram now, you'll see that I do that for every single one of my drawings because I really think it helps add dimension. This is another really nicely paired spread, but I remember being in love with this drawing. Truthfully, I don't remember what shapes or like what little made up rule I made for filling in the shapes, but this one was a favorite. Definitely think I might have to revisit this one. Oh, I remember this drawing. I had just discovered Ashniko, the singer. I was absolutely obsessed with her music. But then she released the music video for her song Deal With It, where she's dressed up as an almost like Ursula-like character. So that's where these tentacles come from. And the little blue lines are the waves. Overall, I like it. Now over here, this one kind of confuses me and hurts my eyes a little bit. There's so much going on. I don't know how I had the patience to do a drawing like this. Geometric shapes are not one of my favorite things to draw because I get way too caught up in trying to make them perfect. It's dumb, doesn't really matter. Overall, I do like this one though. I hate drawing traditional stars, absolutely hate it. Doesn't matter how you incorporate them into a piece of art, to me it always just gives off American flag vibes. This drawing's just, no, don't like it. Moving on. I remember thinking that this drawing was so hard to do, but looking back at it now, it doesn't seem that complicated. I'm digging these little window cutout-like moments, but I wish I had done something different in the background. I feel like these black squiggles are just kind of a cop-out. Okay, this spread is just straight up chaotic. This design over here is just way too difficult to read. All of the details are living on the same level, so there's no depth or contrast between any of the shapes. I think if I had gone in and filled in these little blobs before I added the squiggles, this one could have worked out better. This one has so many polka dots. I love it. Again, I think this is another drawing that could have benefited from some added contrast. I do like that this one reminds me of sour gummy worms though. The spread is adorable. I love this one. This side was inspired by donuts. My best friend and I are absolutely obsessed with donuts, and whenever we see something donut related, we have to document it. Which I actually did not know I liked donuts until I went vegan. It is very hard to find good vegan donuts. Anyways, I think this drawing is fun. It's a little simple for my taste, but there's definitely potential here. Now this drawing I absolutely loved when I finished it, and I still love it now. These weird little olive shapes, like, they look so cool. I love these layered polka dots, and I definitely want to do more experimenting with that. And I'm thinking this pattern might be actually really fun to turn into a bigger painting. I don't really know what I was thinking here. It looks like I was trying to do flowers, but the petals were originally like disconnected, and I went back in and connected them, maybe? I don't actually know. There is just way too much going on here, and all of the colors are blending together, so this one is not open for me. Now over here, we have another mountain-inspired design. I love hiking mountains. It's one of my favorite hobbies, and I think it's a great source of inspiration. You'll end up seeing a lot of mountain and nature-themed patterns in these sketchbooks. This one's pretty straightforward though. Lots of little lines, solid color combinations. It's simple, but I really like it. Speaking of nature, look at these little leafy friends. They're actually a little bit odd, and my color choices weren't great, but I'm loving this wavy grid in the background. Wavy grids are another element that you'll see pop up again and again in my work. And over here, this is another one of my favorite drawings. It took me so long to color in all of these shapes because I kept confusing myself, but it was definitely worth it. And these sorted shapes are all really fun. Over here we have my first and only attempt at making a symmetrical drawing. I do really like the idea behind this, but I definitely think this drawing would have benefited from some color blocking in the back. I think if I had filled in the blobs a little bit, you'd be able to see them better. And then next to that we have this circle drawing. This one is also too simple for my liking, but I still think it's really fun. The colors are nice, and I'm really loving the contrast between the pink and the purple. This is the drawing where I learned not to use satin acrylic paint as the base for my drawings. I don't even know if you can really see what's happening because it's reflecting. But design-wise, I do really like this, and I think this could make a really cool painting. Now this drawing actually already became a painting. I used this design as inspiration for a hand-painted notebook that I did a while back. This color palette's a little unusual for me, but I'm actually really liking it. This spread reminds me of Fire and Earth. This drawing's okay. I like that I started playing around with some color blocking. Not really sure why I didn't continue the pattern on the side. That's kind of weird. But I definitely think this drawing could have been pushed a little further. Now opposite that we have this earthy drawing. These little leaves kind of look like little coffee beans to me. I think the polka dots are in the shapes of clouds, but it's a bit hard to read here. Next up we have all of the polka dots. This color palette is so good. I absolutely love burnt orange right now, so I am loving this. The design's pretty fun too. Over here we have this design that reminds me of organs. I think this one looks like a kidney. But I'm really liking the color palette. I've been experimenting a lot with red and purple, and I think it really works here. And here we have another floral pattern that I do not like. I remember this background took absolutely forever. Every single one of these polka dots is laid out in a perfect diamond pattern to kind of be like a quilt effect, but you can't tell. So it was kind of a waste of time. I do really like the pops of neon, the pops of gold, but I absolutely hate the orange in the center of the flowers. And then over here we have this. I don't know what I was thinking when I drew this. Whatever I was aiming for, I did not get there, and that is okay. I will say this mint green color is really pretty though. It definitely deserved better. This pattern was inspired by a crack in my windshield. 0 out of 10. Would not do again. Do not recommend. This design is cool though. And I'm really loving this color palette, the like Mardi Gras colors, hot pink. Great. And this color palette was inspired by a raspberry mocha. I'm not much of a sweet coffee girl, but I will never turn down an oat milk raspberry mocha. It's my absolute favorite latte flavor. I would turn this design down though. I just think it's not really working that well. There's some potential here, but it definitely could have benefited from some color blocking in the background. So I usually try to avoid using straight lines in my designs. I don't know how, but I somehow manage to mess up whenever I use a ruler. I'm not really sure how I actually graduated from art school, but I actually am really digging this design. I love the monochrome diamonds versus the colors in the background, and I've actually been exploring that concept recently. And then over here we have some vertical lines. There's just way too much happening here. I think the color pairings are pretty solid, but again, this definitely could have benefited from some color blocking in the background. The design is really flat and the gold is just only making things worse. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure this design made me cry. Something happened where I thought I had planned out these colors, but then I ended up messing it up in the end, so I had to go back in and go over some of the things, which just to me looks a little bit sloppy. And then these DNA strand things are just weird. This whole page is just bad. Next up, we have another black, white, and red page. These are hearts. They're a little hard to see. If I were to revisit this design, I would go in and fill in the different layers of the blobs, so that way you could see the hearts better. And I actually just realized that I forgot to polka dot this heart. Oops. Next up, we have my version of a camo print. I love doing camo colored designs. I don't know why. I don't hunt, but I love a good camo. I'm not loving this drawing though. It's too flat. You can't see the sprinkle shapes, and everything's just blending together way too much. This is another drawing that has already inspired a painting. That's the little guy right here. And this painting's actually going to be showing at a gallery this summer, so I definitely have a soft spot for this design. This spread is like screaming Easter to me. I'm not crazy about this design. I just don't really understand what's going on, and I can't really think of a way on how to fix it. And I also noticed that I missed a couple spots. This is another drawing that I don't like. These are supposed to be big leaves, but they kind of just look like footballs. They even have laces on them. I do really like these colors though. Like this green paired with the pink. Spot on. And this is going to be the final spread that we talk about today. I definitely drew this drawing during my X-Files phase, and this is one that actually inspired a painting. I would show it to you, but I already sold it. But I absolutely love it. I think I could have added some background colors, but I definitely think it's good the way it is. And then over here, yet again, we have another floral pattern that I just do not like. There's too much detail, and the design is just kind of getting lost. The gray background isn't helping anything. Kind of bummed to be ending on a low note, but that's okay. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun going back and revisiting old work. I think it can be really beneficial as an artist to go back and look at past works and kind of self-critique them. I know I definitely have a list of patterns that I would like to revisit, whether to try and improve the design or to maybe even turn them into a bigger painting. Now, before I end this video, I do have a little housekeeping update. I'm doing a mini shop update today at noon Eastern Standard Time. Just been painting a couple things here and there over the past month. It's mostly like some small home decor stuff, a couple hand-painted notebooks. But if you'd like to check it out, the link is in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment down below with any suggestions. Let me know if you had a favorite drawing or if you just want to say hi. Have a great day. Bye.